Let's see here. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Jay Leno. I'm going to be doing the live stream reaction to the sum of the IDW TMNT, in particular, issue 150. I'm going to put this in here in the box. I'm going to put this in there in the chat feed. I got my buddy Jonin hopping in as well tonight. If anybody else wants to join and include with us, if you guys wanted to kind of get filled in with the TMNT series, that's the TMNT brand is my favorite brand that I grew up with. Um, oh yeah, appreciate you, Upward. So pretty much, so they IDW and TMNT concluded its original ongoing series at issue 150, and there are other comic reviewers, content creators that have their opinions on how this ended. I think as far as a consensus, there are a lot of people that were kind of disappointed in this final issue 150. I don't know exactly what everybody's was like trying really had what their expectations were, because before this there were articles that were revealed that this one, okay, so there's a lot of time travel that was involved with this 150, and in fact for what's going to conclude or be ongoing is the finalization of this time travel to be a bit of a reset. So it's a final issue but not a final issue. Excuse me. But this I see you're coming up to 1,000. You know what, dude? To be all the way honest with you, we can do something like that. Originally, that's what I was trying to do, bro. I was trying to do like 1,000, a 1K stream. We can multiverse it. So yeah, I'm with it. But in particular, when it comes to this issue, Jonah's trying to hop in. Jonah, you might have to retry. Okay, there we go. What's up, Jonan? Are you there? Let's see. Probably waiting for everything else to kick on in. But yeah, we could possibly do like a multiverse stream where we can chat it up about the 1K, especially like the journey from beginning to end. Considering I've done this for a year, and we can all celebrate, eat some food, get some pop. Um, I just drink the sodas these days, man. I spend too much of my younger time having my drinks of alcoholic beverages. What up, Jonin? I got a little bit of your mic.
Hey, what's up, Jay Leno? How's it going?
Doing all right, man. Just now getting the stream started. What I was going to do is I've got my review. We don't necessarily have to play all of it, but we also can respond to. I was also going to. I got the Black Blurred Without Fear. He also did a review of issue 150. I kind of wanted to sum up, I guess, the IDW series itself, with you in here, your opinion of, even the road to 150, or just kind of what your opinion is on how, how we got to the 150 point, if you like the ending or not. You know, let the people know what you think of the IDW series as a whole.
Yeah, that should definitely be fun. But yeah, yeah. So, where do you want to start?
You know what? Let's start with your review of 150, if you don't mind, in your opinion, and then you can go from there. Because I mean, that's what this is about. So we can start off talking about 150, so we don't have that much of a build up. We don't want them to click away from us.
All right. Well, it's funny too because I just got done. Well, not it's not funny, but I kind of got done rereading it earlier. Actually, that's why I was like I wanted more time because I was reading that and I was reading another TMNT comic just to prepare for the stream and stuff, so I can like have some updated thoughts or see if my opinion hasn't wavered much from it.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, but to be honest with you, I do not have a high opinion about it. I don't think it's necessarily bad, like it's that bad, but I don't think it's good either. Like personally, I gotta say, if I had to rate it out of like 10, I'll say it's like a 6 to me, like 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. You know,
Yeah, so like a kind of like a D if I was like a school teacher or something, you know?
okay, okay. I um,
Yeah,
I'm not going to disagree with you for the hype and to sit there and have these consecutive issues leading up to 150. It didn't build up to the suspense that I wanted
yeah,
as an overall battle. I mean, okay. With that being said, so what are your critiques? Like, okay, for it to be for in some people's minds, I don't know if people already thought. You know, there are some people that might think that this series of IDW was terrible and six. Some people might believe it built up to a six, or some people might believe that it was at a 10 and dropped down to a six. So kind of, throw us into your opinion, or what critiques you have for this final issue of 150.
okay. Well, actually, I do like the IDW comics I do like this version of Ninja Turtles, but it's mostly, if I had to say one of the main things that holds me back from really enjoying it is I really don't like the writer who wrote it, Sophie Campbell and
Okay.
stuff. She started off originally like as a artist for Ninja Turtles, and I thought,
Mm-hmm.
okay, she was pretty good and stuff back in the day, and she did a few stories on the side. And then, as you know, after like issue 100, that's where things kind of shifted a little bit in terms of like the tone and everything, and like the even to me the characterization and just how things were going about it, where it just became more of like a slice of life. And I'm like, well, this is kind of weird. So I kind of wrote it out for a while and thought, all right, this isn't too bad. But then it started getting bad to me, and I'm like, oh man. But I would say definitely around like after Armageddon games, it didn't get like it got a little bit better, but it didn't like
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of just mid to me at that point. I was just like, all right, some of this is kind of mid or it's tolerable, but then there's a lot of stuff I don't like either. So yeah,
Okay. See, okay, well, see, I picked up the IDW series really probably around, I might guess around like the one teens, maybe like 117, 118. And
okay,
and then prior to this, I didn't really read too much TMNT comics. So I've been kind of developing and building from it from that being my basis, and then going back and reflecting on some of the older issues. And I've kind of
yeah,
obtained more knowledge, TMNT comic book presence period. But with what I do like about the IDW series, and this includes Sophie Campbell, is
mm-hmm.
the city itself develops a lot of different characters. There's character development. Um, I feel like there's a lot of different characters to gravitate towards, and it's I really wanted that because prior to that, I'm pretty sure there's been so much focus on the individual turtles in the past, and this to me with this series they're able to introduce other brand new people for people to gravitate towards. I know not everybody was a huge fan of Jenica, but if you wanted to include a female turtle, I'm like, I don't know if there's an even better way to do it.
Yeah, I can see
Uh,
that. I mean, and it's not that I'm against the idea of a female like Ninja Turtle or something because like Venus could possibly work, and I mean, I know they couldn't use Venus at the time because I think they were struggling with like some legal issues there, and now they're kind of able to use her now, so that's kind of cool. So I don't have a
mhm.
problem with like a female Ninja Turtle as
Okay,
long as it
okay.
kind of like
I
makes
just want to
sense.
let people know that too, because people insinuate when you don't address the topic.
Yeah, yeah. But like, so like, how much do you know about Jenica? Like, what do you know about the character?
All right, so for the most part, I do know that she was originally, as a human, she was a part of the clan itself, and she was
Hmm.
one of the best fighters. She was actually one of the best martial artists as a human being. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't think it was ever like established whether or not she was better than Karai as far as martial arts, but I assume that she wasn't. But being a,
Oh
but
yeah, no.
yeah, but as far as
Yeah.
a
So like,
formidable opponent against the Turtles, she seems like a fair fighter.
yeah, like because well, I wouldn't say back in the day as if I was reading it then, But yeah, Jenica back in like when she was first introduced, because she was introduced after I think the storyline called City at Fall, after like Leonardo got brainwashed by the Shredder and they saved him and they retreated to the farmhouse to kind of recuperate. Jenica was a villain at the time, so she first
Okay.
appeared wearing this like red hood and all this stuff or whatever. I'm pretty sure you know the look, right, with the little claws and the yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So she attacked the turtles then, and that was the first time she appeared. And then I didn't really see her too much after that. But I think the next time I really saw Jenica was like when
I believe that's
Splinter
issue
took over the Foot
51, if
Clan.
I'm not mistaken.
Hmm?
Wasn't her first
Yeah, yeah,
appearance
probably.
issue 51? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it might have been somewhere around that. It's definitely one. Well, no, probably not 51 because I think Shredder was killed in issue 50. But but she did join up like when Splinter had took over the Foot Clan and stuff. Jenica, she didn't really like Splinter and how he was running things. So she tried to assassinate Splinter by working with his enemies and all that stuff, but that
Mm.
kind of backfired. So, you know, basically Splinter decided to spare her life and pretty much demoted her and was like, okay, well, you're going to have to work your way back up to my, like, back to your position and all that stuff since you want to try to assassinate me, basically. And
Okay.
over time, Jenica did. She kind of lost that red outfit though, which was kind of her best design in my opinion.
Mm.
But so like that's why she looks like she's wearing like the ninja garbs, and then she has like short blonde hair and all that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that look. So, anyways, she got demoted.
I know not
Leo,
everybody was a fan of Jenica when she first appeared, and even when I talked to other people at the comic book stores, they felt like she was forced. There was a certain moment when I even when I go into these other groups, they felt like I mean they put too much attention on her, but I just maybe people just weren't accepting of her. But I apologize. You can continue on as you were saying.
oh no, you're good. I would say that's mostly towards when she became a turtle, but before that, I would say like Jenica was a little bit obscure because I'm not gonna lie,
Mm.
I kept forgetting about Jenica too. I was like, wait, who? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. But the more I keep seeing like Splinter running the Foot Clan, and after like Leo, he used to be Splinter's right hand man, a part of the Foot. But after like Splinter had killed one of his enemies, Darius Dunn, um, they were like, okay, we're out. Leo, Raph, and Donnie, they were like, all right, we're not a part of this anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
Jenica kind of took Leo's spot in there and became Splinter's right hand man. And then I'm pretty sure like Jenica later on, she like turned down Karai's request to like be a part of her Foot Clan, and
Mm-hmm.
she stabbed Jenica. And then Leo had did the blood transfusion, and that
Mm-hmm.
transformed her into the mutant turtle that we know her as. So
Okay.
at the time, I was kind of thinking, all right, this could be interesting, like some She-Hulk type of thing, because just like with the Hulk and stuff, he had transferred blood to his cousin, Jennifer
Mm.
Walters, and she became She-Hulk. So
Mm.
I was like,
Okay. Okay.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could
Okay. Okay.
that could
Yeah.
be something like that. So I was like, all right, that's not a bad idea. But then the writer Sophie Campbell, um, she started to kind of make Jenica a little bit like her self-insert and stuff. Like she was as if she was writing herself. Which I'm not saying you can't write yourself as a writer, but it just felt like yeah, Jenica was a completely different character as she had wrote her and all that stuff. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
But
she had her
yeah,
own. She definitely had her own. I mean, she had her own issues. I think she had a two-part solo comic book storyline. Um, but you know what? Sophie had done that as well with what was that the Casey Jones and April miniseries?
no, that was a different writer. That was
Oh,
Mariko
okay.
Tamaki. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Have you ever
okay,
heard of
okay.
I Am Not Starfire?
I have not. I have not.
Okay, it was a stupid YA novel. A lot of people were talking about it. Like basically, Starfire has some weird self-insert daughter or something, or not self-insert, but it was the writer's self-insert. It was weird, and she was like overweight and gothic or whatever. But yeah, the writer on that book, Mariko Tamaki, she's the one that wrote that Casey and April story.
Okay, okay, okay,
But
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But Jenica though, it's funny you mentioned Casey because I also forgot to mention. Yeah, Jenica also used to be Casey's girlfriend even before her mutation and all that. So
I did
that was
not
kind of
know
interesting.
that. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That okay.
they actually had a pretty decent relationship because in that April and Casey run or that little mini series, and I don't
Mm,
know why they thought this was a good idea, but they broke up Casey in April, and I was like, but why though? So that was dumb to me. And then
okay.
later on, like Casey, well, Splinter, like I said, he was running the Foot Clan, and Casey's running the Purple Dragons, right?
Hmm.
So Casey and Splinter, they were working close together. So of course, Splinter was like, well, because Casey's going through some things, of course, like his dad, and he's running the Purple Dragon. So Master Splinter was like, okay, let me try to hook up Jenica and Casey, and he did exactly that. He had
Hmm.
assigned Jenica to kind of be Casey's little bodyguard, and they started dating, and it was a pretty nice relationship.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
okay. So I mean, Jenica is a part of the Sophie Campbell's run,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
mean, honestly, I
But
mean, this made Jenica a pivotal character amongst the original set of four of the
right,
TMNT characters. So I mean, this
yeah,
this this is one. This. I guess I mean this is something that's a part of her. I mean, anything additional to you that kind of stood out? I mean, I think Dr. Barlow had existed before IDW.
yeah. I'm not too sure about him though. Maybe. Um, I mean, I know a lot about Ninja Turtles, but I don't know. He could have existed. I'm not really sure than myself though.
Because I don't think he
But
was Dr. X. I think that's different. But okay.
yeah. What was I saying though? But Jenica though, yeah. So before all that, she was okay, a little bit forgettable sometimes. Like you'll blink and miss her, that kind of thing. But
Mm.
she was okay. I was like, okay, I don't want her to die. And now after all this, I'm like, you know what? Since everybody's getting killed off left and right, I would not have mind if that would have happened because Jenica, to me, she just got so insufferable like later in my opinion. Like they're
Mm.
coming off like, oh well, her relationship with the turtles is like forced, like, like, oh, she's always been like the sister and stuff. And I'm like, no, they weren't that close. Junicho was close to Master Splinter and stuff, yeah. Where I can see like, yeah, he saw like, yeah, well, Jenica saw like Master Splinter like a dad, but she wasn't like close with the turtles. Like, oh yeah, they were like family and stuff, brother and sister. Like, no, and all that stuff. And then in this run, it's like, god damn, like I really feel like Jenica just belittled Wrath, in my opinion.
Well,
Like
to be
especially
honest,
Raphael.
I'm not gonna. I can't disagree with you there because especially during the road to 150, those issues at the beginning of that, and everything
Yeah,
considered,
like the
it was kind of. It
you
seemed like
remember
it was
the
hard.
prison scene?
You said
Sorry
which
to
scene?
cut you off.
You're good. Which
No, I
what?
was saying like remember when Raphael got he got arrested or whatever, and he had to like call Jenica to bail him out. I was like, oh god, no. After they had a whole argument, I was like, you can't be serious.
Well,
But
I guess
no, what were you saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
with you're good. So I mean, like with them throwing in Lita and being the new formidable time, the I guess the controller, like the time travel with the other blonde haired woman that originally was involved with being a time traveler.
Renette,
Yeah, Renette. Okay, yeah, yeah. With
yeah,
Renette, and with them trying to lead to this with Armor God and everything, Jenica didn't really have much of a personality when the four actual turtles are together. But I
yeah,
mean, they did develop her, so yeah. I mean, it did kind of feel like she was just there.
yeah. Even if it's not by Sophie Campbell, if somebody like, have you ever read the Street, like this was last year, but the Street Fighter and TMNT crossover?
I did not like it.
Oh, you didn't?
I did not like it. It's just,
Oh, I thought-
it's. I mean,
oh,
it's an entertaining crossover, but it's. I don't. You know what? It was kind of corny. I'll just say that.
yeah, I
I'll
can
just
see
say that.
that. I mean,
Well,
to me, it
but
was all
as
right,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
I was gonna say like Jenica and that whole story, um, yeah, bland character written by a
Mhm.
completely
Mhm.
different writer. They didn't know what to do with her. And what's weird to me is like there's five turtles, but four Street Fighters. It's Ryu, Ken, Guile, and Chun Li. And I'm like, okay, well, Jenica doesn't have a rival, or they could have gotten somebody else that wasn't Jenica, like I don't know, Alopex, Casey, April, somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
she
just
was
didn't
definitely
feel
just
like
thrown in. Yeah.
right, right.
Not
But
much, like I
yeah,
said,
so
like not much dialogue, not much of a personality that stands out. You know, you already have a hothead. You already have like the
yeah,
leader, you have the techie, you've got the goofy one. And then it's like, all right, is she just there to be exploited as a woman in this crossover series? That's a
yeah,
turtle. So
exactly.
I would say
But
that there was a bit of like a lack thereof from Sophie. Unless, I don't know if Sophie is just a brand and she branches off and use different writers, but if she was able to establish that a bit more, maybe if they had like maybe if Jenica had like if a more of a gothic rock, you know, like a rock girl, because she does play instruments, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. And that's where the self-insert part comes in with Sophie Campbell, where she was like, "Well, I'm not into that type of stuff," and I'm like, "Then why are you putting in Ninja Turtles, the punk gothic rock and all that stuff?" You know. But yeah, she tried to. I've looked in some interviews that she's done, and there's not too many on like YouTube, but I've saw like the ones on YouTube, and she says with Jenica, she tries to make Jenica more like the musical one, since
Mm-hmm.
Michelangelo is the funny one, and so on and so forth. um, Jenica can be like the music one, and low key to me. And again, this is my bitterment to Jenica, but she just comes off like a second rate Raph. Like, oh,
Yeah,
her
yeah.
personality is like exactly. She's got temper, but she's not as angry as Raph. And I'm like, okay,
I mean,
but
there's no
that's pretty much
disagreements there.
right.
But I
So that's
mean,
pretty much her character in a nutshell.
but like, okay,
But
going really, I guess this. I mean, this. I wanted to mention and kind of do a breakdown of Jenna because she is real. I mean, to me, this character might be the face of Sophie in her run
hmm?
with Jenica.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like in a way, I would say like yeah
I
that
think that's
or
her
like
prize trophy through the series.
yeah, or if you didn't like, you already know. Like, did you know like Sophie Campbell used to like do like fan like TMNT fan fiction back in the day?
Hold on, could you say that
Like
again?
probably in the 2000s. I was about to say Sophie Campbell. She used to do like TMNT fan fiction back in like the 2000s, right?
I about to say at that particular time I was on. Matter of fact, that cartoon series had not even came out yet because well, so no, I'm not familiar.
So it's an online comic that she did, and
Okay.
I think it's called Secret of the Ooze, just like the movie or something. But
Mm.
basically, she had a character on there called Artesia, who was kind of like this. She was like the sister of the Ninja Turtles, basically. Another mutant turtle that was also a girl
Artesia? Is
that
that
wore a yellow
AR?
bandana. Yeah,
Artes?
yeah, Artesia.
Artemisia.
Yeah.
Artemisia.
So yeah, that Artemisia. Yep.
Now, would it
And you can
be
see where.
this? Is it the pink? Would you say it's
Yep,
the
that's
pink
the
or
one.
the yellow?
The yellow.
Okay, well then technically the way this looks is they changed the name but still inserted Artemisia. Jenica's Artemisia.
Exactly. Exactly. Like Junica's design is based off of Artesia. I'm pretty sure that character in the first image, that's probably like that is also one of Sophie Campbell's characters, but I think she's trying to insert it into like a future storyline or something like that, or some alternate future. I don't
Okay.
know. Um, but yeah, yeah. But the one in yellow, that is her fanfic character though. That
Okay.
Jenica, her current design is based off of, and probably her personality too.
Okay. All right, we're gonna fast forward a little bit.
Yep.
We gave Jenica a lot of time and a lot of respect leading up to 150, but really, okay,
Yeah.
issue 150 is about Bob and Armagon.
Yeah. 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 I was gonna say let's get past the Jenica stuff, but that's just my
Yeah.
whole thing. But yeah, because she's not really featured like that in there.
All
But
right, to get
yeah, the Bob and Armagon stuff.
so okay to give this some context, I'm gonna go into Blurred Without Fears review of issue 150. We're gonna kind of critique it together, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
with me. See some things we might agree or dislike, like etc. Let's get to the commitments. All right.
is a massive, and when I say massive, I mean massive issue. This issue is literally 62 pages of salvation, and it's an awesome thing to see, awesome thing to read. Just to get into it real quick, just as far as like from a pure review perspective, because I'm not really going to be breaking down any of the previous 50.
I was about to say that's the tough thing to do right there.
Kind of built up to this moment. It's one of those things that we're just talking about the single issue itself. I will say right now, off rip, if you come into this as someone who has not read any of the previous issues of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at IDW, or I would actually even dare say just the last 50 issues of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I do like the art right here, though. That is in the comic. This, that's pretty cool.
Going on. This is an issue that is trying to
I think Gavin Smith's my favorite artist.
Not very interested in trying to hold your hand all the way through it. And honestly, I feel like that's okay. That's fine. That's not a bad thing, because I mean, you're trying to tell a story. You're not trying to be like, oh, hey, let me tell you about all this other stuff that happened that you probably should have read before you picked this one up. I mean, that to me is more of a personal problem for the people who didn't read. But it does do a good job of telling you where certain stuff comes from, like, you know, the way comics typically do. Hey, this is from issue this is from issue that. There's multiple moments where this comes up. But one thing I will say about the story, and I have largely loved Sophie Campbell's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles up to this point, I will say a lot of stuff is happening, and most of it, you know, for being the finale of the Ninja Turtle series as a whole, I could see where people who have a very specific favorite turtle would probably feel left out in the cold a little bit. Now
this is where I pause it. I definitely felt like this. With Raph being my favorite guy, like I was disappointed when Raph was suffering through the time travel and pretty much lost his mind through I guess you would call it time travel looping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were familiar with that.
Like he had some kind of weird time schizophrenia, basically. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But
what were you gonna say?
But I mean, I guess in all though, especially towards the end of the series, this is like the most shine I've seen Donatello have. He ended up being the most important, if not turned out to be the most powerful turtle of the group.
Yeah, sometimes it turns out like that. I mean, maybe it is probably I can't say it's the most focused, maybe. I'm not sure. But Donatello, what was I gonna say? But to add on to the Raph thing, I really do feel like Sophie Campbell did Raph very dirty, and for more stuff than the time schizophrenia thing. Like even like, you know, he had a relationship with like Alopex, and like, man, why did Sophie get them together only to destroy that relationship in Armageddon games, you know? And there was plenty of other stuff where they were just completely shitting on Raph, and I was just like, why? Do you hate this character or something? And she's like, no, Raph, Leo, and Casey are my favorite characters, but why do you? Oh God, why do you keep ruining them? And basically, I guess she has like this affinity that because she has a Tumblr account, so a lot of people ask her questions on there, so I get some of my answers. And well, I've never asked her any questions, but I'm like, you know what, this makes sense, or this lines up perfectly, because she likes saying that she likes to make her characters like little shits and all that stuff, and I'm like, that's not right though. He's not somebody that's unlikable or that's like, oh, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, Raph has his edges, but still.
Okay, so I'm gonna an objective opinion because I completely agree with you, but just to be objective, there's a plethora of like focus of Raphael in so many issues because we're talking about from 1984 to now we're in I'll call it 2023. It's what you know. Let's just call it 2023 because 2024 is when is to basically promote what's to happen after this. And you know, I mean, Raph has been Shredder. Raph has been the turtle by himself. I always felt like Raph and Mikey have been the most popular of the set of turtles. There still are Leonardo to an extent for some people. Leonardo's always looked at to be has always been promoted as to be the most skilled, well balanced turtle of the group, and everybody else has their strengths and their weaknesses. Kind of puts them in bad situations. So I could I I'm not surprised. It is disappointing to see see every turtle kind of go down, and it's been Donatello again. Donatello was the main guy.
Yeah, yeah. Like Donatello, and this is why Donatello, because Donatello, he is actually my favorite Ninja Turtle and stuff,
Mm.
So, and
My
I
second.
realized this in like the cartoons and like back when I was in high school, I started like going back and like read like we're not rereading, but I started to like read the comics and stuff from like Round Up from like Mirage and 1987 the cartoon, and I'm just like, man, Donatello is the best Ninja Turtle. He's got the best
Mm.
personality. Or to be honest with you, if you take Donatello out of the mix and there's like an alien invasion, there's not much the turtles can do in that situation. So they
Oh, most
really rely
definitely.
on Donatello a lot. Or like, have you seen like you've seen in like some TMNT cartoons, right?
Yeah.
Like in some episodes, Donatello something happens to Donatello. Like in the 2012 series, he lost his intelligence, or the 2003 series, he gets turned into a monster, and uh, nobody can find out how to help Donatello unless they had to make some kind of deal, or some luck just
Mhm.
happens. But because usually he's the one that always comes up with a solution, so that's how very important he is. So that's why I like Donatello the most, and then second in that is Leonardo.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
also to add on to what you're saying, seeing Donatello kind of lose his mind a bit with the future Donatello. To me, that was kind of a climatic moment. I feel like that was the climax to it. That was definitely a surprise to me. I wonder if they were influenced by Beast from X-Men.
like wasn't there some like Dark Beast or something like that from X Men?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, and that's also one of my major problems with this issue too, is that Donatello, I'm just like, God, Jesus. Like, I just feel like this whole entire issue, they just crap on him, especially his future version, because they make him like, and this is why I'm like, Sophie Cam, I'm like, you really don't like the Ninja Turtles, do you? Because in this issue, she basically made Donatello like he's a neglectful dad. His kids created with the magic crystal thing. I know
Hmm.
that's the thing,
Hmm.
the Jack Kirby King thing.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
can talk
yep,
about that.
yep.
Yeah, but I'm just like, he's a terrible dad. His kids are calling him a moron and all that stuff, and I'm like, why, why? It's like, to be honest with you, this makes me think like I have to compare this to like Luke Skywalker from like The Last Jedi. Like
Mm.
how Star Wars fans really hated how Luke was portrayed. That's how I feel like Donatello was written. Like I'm just like to be like this hermit, deadbeat kind of dad or whatever. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, he's a loser, he's a failure, he's giving up hope on life or whatever. I'm just like, nah, bro.
Well, so the, it was definitely grungy with the direction that you're speaking of with Donatello. But I'll tell you what, I didn't anticipate this. It didn't really lead to anything because I knew it was after reading it, there wasn't much substance behind it, but it makes it darker. I've a lot of other books that I've read in the past. I mean, they excuse me. Mirage has its dark moments, but
Oh yeah.
the grittiness it gives you a sense of that. But okay, so I guess how I'm trying to explain this as I'm talking is
Oh yeah.
what emotions would you say that they try to invoke from its readers in this situation?
Honestly, I can't say. I guess like how you saw like President Donatello, calling himself pure evil and all that stuff. Where he's like, you're pure evil," and he attacks his future self. Like I'm pretty sure that's probably the reaction she wanted to get out of the audience and stuff. What was I going to say though? But I'm not against like Donatello having some dark moments, because sometimes Donatello can be a little bit on the sly side too.
Mhm.
Because in the IDW comics, they have had old futures, because they've time traveled and all that other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So one time they actually went into a future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like basically it's like this futuristic world. Donatello's alive, but he's a little older, and there's this whole like, and Shredder's taken over the world basically, and like there's a rebel force or whatever, and Donatello is just retired. He's not trying to get involved or anything, and the turtles, the present day turtles, they're like, hey, so where's our future selves? And then Donatello, he looks at the wall with like their mask on it and all that stuff, like implying that yeah, they all died, and
Oh,
he's the only one. And he was like, yeah, I kind of left the team because he kind of got tired of like fighting the battles and stuff. So I mean, I'm not saying stuff like that can't be done, but I'm just saying like here, I'm like this just came off as like distasteful,
okay. Yeah, I
or
mean,
like,
it. So yeah,
or there's I know
yeah.
oh wait, what were you gonna say?
So basically, with for the people that still that aren't aware of exactly what we're talking about as much as we've been talking. So Armagon is this shark that is biting through all of these timelines through the
Yeah,
existence of the turtles. And when he's doing that, he's trying to eliminate them from existing, period. And they
right.
introduce this magic and these spells with these time travelers, and the present Donatello, along with Venus, who too have the ability to use this magic, is using this substance that is used to help them time travel, and they're trying to stop Armagon from ruining their existence. So
Hmm.
so with their time travel, they're running into each individual turtle who kind of has its own story. Raphael, when they run into a time frame with Raph, a future Raph, they run into a future version of each turtle. And
Right.
when they so as the finale, they run into the future Donatello, and everybody's story is pretty much sad. It's a depressing story leading up to this point. Just kind of leading you guys into where we're at now.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, yeah, like I said, Raphael, he had the little time schizophrenia. Michelangelo, he became like some kind of famous celebrity podcaster or whatever, but he's not really satisfied with his life. Um,
Mhm.
Leo, he's in that weird dystopian future, which I really feel like Sophie Campbell has a huge affinity for like dystopian worlds because she's a huge fan of Mad Max. So every time you see that Sophie Campbell's going to write like a future story or something inside like Ninja Turtles or probably in general, it's always going to be some kind of barren wasteland, kind of apocalyptic looking thing going. And I'm like,
I like post-apocalyptic films. I'm not gonna lie.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I don't like Mad Max either. I'm like, no, that's a cool movie series, but I'm just like, but the Turtles have had plenty of futures where it's futuristic or they have coexisted with other humans and stuff because they opened up the borders with like aliens and mutants and all that stuff. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's a more satisfying kind of like ending or future to me though for Ninja Turtles. But yeah,
Mhm. Gotcha.
but I
All
mean,
right.
it's not like apocalyptic stuff can't work because I mean, Last Ronin.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Like I like Last Ronin. We already knew kind of from the get go that that was going to be a dark story. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, all right. Let's see where he goes with this.
This isn't really
Okay.
so much of a spoiler, but this issue largely focuses on Donatello. Now, that said, a lot of the different characters have been focused on over the course of Sophie Campbell's run. Those characters largely being Leonardo, Raphael, and Jenica. Those characters have probably gotten the lion's share of the storytelling. Michelangelo probably not too terribly far behind them in that regard, but I also kind of feel like Michelangelo is one of those characters. You focus on him for too long, especially considering the fact he already has
That's a
another
pretty
Ninja
good
Turtles series
drawing
that
right there. I'm
is
not gonna
pretty
lie.
much all about him.
Mhm.
I am okay
I
with
can
it.
tell that's
And also
Gavin.
being a guy whose favorite Ninja Turtle is
Yeah.
Donatello, I had no issue with this. But I can totally see where there's some people like if you're a Leonardo stan or a Raphael stan, or a Michelangelo stan, I could see where you would be a little miffed that you didn't really get to see much of those characters in this issue because Donatello gets the lion's share of it. I thought it was a bold choice. I thought it was a very bold choice. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it will pay off. But I will be brutally honest here. I feel like that is kind of par for the course with Sophie Campbell and her writing of the series. She has, by and large, not tried to go for the low-hanging fruit on any of the Ninja Turtles, anything. She is largely, and I don't want to use the term stuck to her guns, but like, I feel like she had a very specific story in mind. She had a very specific story she wanted to tell using characters that you don't see all the time. And I feel like she did a really good job with it. I have, kind of joked on social media that, I'm actually dead ass serious when I say this, but just, being very tongue in cheek when I say it, that I feel she has presented us with, not only the best version of Venus de Milo, but
I
also
agree.
the best version of Toka and Razor. She has given us what I personally feel.
So, okay, what was your opinion on them implementing this dragon scale magic?
Dragon scale magic. I was like, well, that's kind of a little weird, but I'm like, it could possibly work. It definitely should be a lot more powerful than what they probably presented it as, because like, I was like, sometimes as a nerd, you look into the cosmetology and all that stuff of like certain like stuff you like, like universes or whatever. And in the IDW universe, like, if you like, you already know who like the character Dragon is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Dragon, he's like one of the he's like a nigh omnipotent like character and stuff along with this other character, but Dragon's like the god of death basically. And the his like children are like what's his face? Kasune, the Rat King, and all of them other characters and stuff. So yeah, that's where that power comes from him and all that. And he has control over like life and or over
Leader
death and all that stuff
Pantheon.
or whatever. Yeah.
I say leader of the
Yeah, and he's like,
Pantheon.
yeah, or well, he's not the leader, but he's their he's their dad and all that stuff basically. But it's weird. Like he kind of died, I guess, and he's been kind of sort of sealed inside Shredder. In a way where Kasune has been trying to use Shredder, or she's been trying to like build him up for years in their bloodline to try and revive Dragon and all that stuff, and he would have like destroyed the universe just like that. But because of Master Splinter, he sacrificed himself to bring the Shredder back to life and to stop Dragon, basically. But Dragon was the one that kind of was influencing Shredder inside the IDW universe to be evil, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best story to kind of like understand all of it, I would say, is to like read Shredder in Hell, because I feel like
Mm.
I actually got the comic and stuff. It's pretty cool. And I just reread it a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, basically that would kind of best summarize what I'm trying to say. But yeah, about like Dragon and the Shredder and all that.
That's probably one of the next reviews I'm going to do is the Shredder in Hell. I got the issue one that came with the IDW figurine. I'm really proud of that one.
Okay. But yeah, it's definitely like it's got some very good art and everything. I mean, I'm not really a fan of like Shredder being turned good or whatever. He was influenced by a greater evil, but or something, because Shredder, I just like him just to be a cutthroat villain, and that's it. You know,
Mm.
and that's how I feel like he should have just stayed like a cutthroat villain. But that's just me though.
Yeah, the sub. I guess the dragon substance itself, I couldn't really wrap my finger around of what its capabilities are, because at the very beginning, it was almost used for immortality.
Yeah, because Dragon, his counterpart or his sister, she's the kind of like the goddess of life or whatever, or of dreams. So I would say yeah, something like that. But Dragon, I mean, he's an excuse me, he's a nigh on up in the creature. So I mean, of course, you can probably get some kind of immortality out of that too.
Let's see where Blurred goes.
Is a maybe even better familial kind of teenage vibe with the turtles. Like, it's one of those things that I've criticized before. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I mean, for being teenagers, they don't always act like teenagers, and this felt like a more authentic, not just teenager, but older teenager kind of familial bond these characters have
A
now.
mature
They're
teenage
getting older.
age
They're
at
getting
that.
to a point where I don't think any of them is
Yeah.
older, at least socially, than like 16, 17 by this point. But you're hitting that age where you're more
I don't think
relevant.
it'll
So
ever
no matter what
happen.
your
Could you
personality is, you're
see
probably
this
okay to
IDW
work with
series
it
possibly being a
to
live action
push
show?
back against something, whether it suits your best
Well,
interest or
I don't
not.
know
And
about
that's
a
that
live action
regardless of
show.
age. And
Um,
Not
I
live,
think
they
it's
definitely
great.
could have.
maybe not live
But
action
beyond that,
or
I will definitely say,
CGI or
yeah,
just a
it
series
was it
for
was a bold
adults.
choice, but she is
They
meeting
really
the
should have done something like
principles.
that
And
though.
I'm
They
not
had
gonna
something
say
a
that
little bit
all
with
of them will work,
Batman
but
versus
I
TMNT,
do appreciate the fact
and
that
they
she
did
didn't try
have
and give us
sort of an
same old,
IDW
same
game
old, same
called
old.
Mutant Mayhem, which is based off
TMNT
the
has its
IDW
issues. She
comics,
always
but
tried to do
I
something
think it's
different,
non-canon
and
though
that
to like the actual
is,
comics itself.
I think
But
what
yeah,
is probably the most important thing,
but they
considering
do
that
use the like the
comics are made
designs
for
and
like
the
40
stories and
years.
all that
All
stuff
that
from that
aside, getting to the art of it,
as it
art looks great.
influence for that
It kind
game.
of jumps around in different portions of the story. I've been very critical of that as of late, but this is, as I've said when I have been critical, this is one of those issues where I'm okay with it because, like I said earlier, this is 62 pages, so I would expect other artists to come in. And not only do other artists come in, but I feel like they come in the places where they're most needed. Like, the last few pages of the story are drawn by Sophie Campbell. She writes the story, and her art on the series I
They
feel
did
was
a
very
really
much
good job with
loves to the
Bob. I
series
will
for a
say
long
that.
time before she started
He's
writing
carried
it.
this
So
whole
the fact that it kind of
situation.
ends where I felt
Oh,
you kind of
Living
came
up to
I
full
it.
mean,
circle.
I
Sophie
might sort
started
of
out
disagree. I mean, he
drawing,
did
then she
carry
ended
it,
up
but
writing.
it's just
Now she's
like
doing both
to
at
me,
the
his
very end of
motivations
the
for me
issue,
just
and
don't make
everybody
any
else
sense.
is pretty solid.
Wanting to be
Plus,
human that darn
just
bad.
to kind of break it down a little
Yeah,
bit
I was
further,
like, bro,
so it kind
you
of
wanted to
jumps
be
around a bit.
human
But
enough that you
Vincenzo
wanted to like
Enrique is
sacrifice all these
fantastic as
timelines and
per
worlds
usual. I
and
don't
all
have
that
any
stuff. And I'm
issues.
like, well, what's going to be left at the end? Because Armagon wants nothing else but destruction. So I'm like, yeah. Or no, what's weird is because I didn't even think that was Future Bob's motivation, but apparently it was. But it was I just thought it was a lie or something that he was trying to use his present self to try to get to like betray the turtles. And I'm like, just like that, he just betrayed them and stuff. And I'm like, he's got nothing to like show that, oh, you can become. He was already human himself, and he just had to do a few things to try and get to that point. That would have made sense to
There's
me, but
there's
yeah.
there's so many mutants around. I guess he never like enjoyed being a mutant, and it's like if you
Oh
were a
yeah, yeah,
human, you'd be pretty weak out
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I get it. Like he would definitely be like desperate. Like, yeah, I could definitely see him being desperate, but still, I'm just like, if I saw my future self, and well, I don't know, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I would trust my future self, but I'm just saying, like, come on, bro, you got to show me something or like proof of identification or something,
Mhm.
But yeah, and then I don't know, like, yeah, Donatello and everybody just like. I don't know. They just kind of flip and flop with Bob or whatever. But I'm like, no, you should be mad at him and all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
He
yeah,
betrayed.
okay, yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that. It's just like once they found out they betrayed him, they were still kind of lenient. I'd almost go completely violent, like, bro, you really about to ruin us.
Right. So yeah, that's why I'm just like, no, like I can't. I don't trust you at that point. I mean, we can work through this maybe, but right now I'm like, nah, bro, I can't trust you if like because right now you could stab me in my back for all I know. So
And
I'm like, no, you got to
he,
walk in front
he's
of me.
he's basically a tracking device at this point for Armagon.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, yeah. So I don't know about Bob. I'm just like, yeah, and it's weird. I mean, because if you didn't know, Bob, he was a character from the Archie comics and stuff, where
Originally, okay, okay.
yeah, like because in the Archie comics, and the Archie comics is my favorite Tmnt comic series,
Mhm.
but there's a future version of the Turtles where it's like the Turtles are like this is 100 years in the future, so basically kind of around like 2080, 2090 or something pretty much. And Leo has like he opened up his own kind of like ninja school or dojo, kind of like in the IDW comics, but I think it's a little bit more scarce.
Mhm.
And it's also like a police force. So characters like Bob and Carmen, they were a part of that, and Sophie Campbell kind of sort of brought those two characters into the IDW comics. But I think she's trying to do a little bit more of, excuse me, with Bob and all that, but making him some kind of acolyte or of Armagon, basically.
One moment. Okay. Yeah. The old Bob. Let's continue this.
Whatsoever with their side.
My phone. I need to put my phone on silent. I'm getting distracted.
Almost.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
I won't say throughout the entire. Well, maybe almost throughout the majority of the Ninja Turtles run. Vincenzo doesn't necessarily do every single damn issue, but he's done a lot. Farape is probably my personal favorite, though I will definitely say Dan Duncan does a great job in this as well. Though they don't do quite as many pages as everybody else.
I agree with you. I kind of like this art style.
The art across this was fantastic, and Rhonda Pattinson has
it's all right.
consistently, as well as Luis Antonio Delgado has also been pretty consistent on.
But yeah, this one right here is my favorite of the book because I just like the Turtles being more like kind of cartoonish in a way.
Does a fantastic job. Their colors
versus like it being super realistic or
like dark versus light in their colors. But I will definitely say between the two, I feel like no one colors Sophie Campbell's work like Rhonda Pattinson. So that's my personal preference.
Like Venus definitely looks very feminine in her eyes and all that stuff. So I like it.
This issue is basically a case study in how to close the loop. And that's something I felt Sophie did very well here. Without really going too terribly deep off into it, Donatello, the reason why this is focused on him is because over the course of the series, especially since Sophie Campbell took over, Donatello has shifted more from being into gadgetry to being into magic. And he's been studying not only magic, but also studying what is referred to as Q&A. It's basically like DNA, but for time. He's been studying this for a while, and he's been kind of playing around with it, and it ends up kind of dragging the Turtles into some Turtles in Time shenanigans, though more specifically tied to Donnie, less so the others. He's been traveling through the future, the past, and there's a point in this where he even goes back to the very beginning. And for those who know what I'm talking about, the Ninja Turtles have had their origin retconned in the IDW universe, and I could spend a lot of time talking about it here, but I feel like if you really want the full story, check out this video up here. To get more into it, he goes all the way back to feudal Japan, and he even goes back to the moment that the Turtles were mutated and trying to preserve those moments, making that tough choice as to whether or not to preserve those, all while being hunted down by the Ninja Turtles villain, Armagon, which sounds kind of crazy because Armagon's very different in this compared to what you might be used to. It's not really till the end of the story we see Armagon look in a way that's familiar to fans who are more familiar with him from the animated series. It's all done pretty well, I think. I was actually wondering if they were going to retcon the clan Hamato origin, the feudal Japan stuff. It doesn't seem like that's the case at all. It seems like all that's
let this
still
catch up.
We kind of knew this going in because when it was announced that Jason Aaron was going to be taking over after Sophie Campbell, one of the things I thought was very interesting about
this
that
uses too much CPU.
Like this isn't Jason Aaron starting over from.
I'm not that. I'm starting not to like StreamYard and Restream so much.
It sounds like
I feel you. Sometimes if you cut my mic off or whatever, or the video just be like not even playing,
origin, maybe not
or it's playing, but it's like it's weird, it's buffering all the time.
For any comics going forward, this is all kind of picking up from there, and I don't know how they're going to do this because a lot has happened to these Turtles. They have been through a lot, so much. That it's insane. And I've been meaning to do more videos about the Turtles, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been getting bogged down in X-Men stuff and also other like personal projects. So all
right, there we go. Now we can get back to business.
I'm gonna do these things, just they're taking long.
Okay, we're still frozen. There we go.
But yeah, I thought this was
so. How did you, what was your opinion on like how Armagon was defeated?
I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, because if I'm not mistaken, like basically he ate Venus or whatever, and then like Venus like blew up and then became a spirit, and then after that, like he was weakened enough for like Donatello and his kids to just kill him or something, right?
Yeah.
It's
like he basically like he shrunk down, was at a weak point, and then but you know what? I thought it was. I thought the kids' abilities were really cool, and I really want to know how if they could do like some kind of a bonus to let us know how they got to using those abilities. Each
Yeah,
individual one
because I
of
mean,
Donatello's children's has that kind of just came out of the blue to me, unexplained.
yeah. Honestly, I think this is like technically their first issue too, the first and the last. Let me stop. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So like that also was kind of like rushed too because I don't think Soviet Kimmel really planned for this per se, like for 150 to like end so abruptly, you know.
Mm.
Um, because she had a lot, and I'm like, oh god, please. I was like, please. She had all this time, 4 years consistently. She wrote all this, but anyways, I don't think she had enough time to really write what she really wanted. So she probably had to like cut some things off. That's why Raph wasn't a part of this like that because I think they had plans on doing like using Raph for something else, which I'm glad Sophie Gamble did not touch Raph because she wanted to like do something else with him. I can't remember what, but now they're trying to turn Raph into like I think Night Watcher and all that stuff, and Raph, I think they're trying to get him with his because I'm not sure if you ever heard of have you ever heard of Ninjara?
Ninjar, you're talking about the wasn't that the character on Super Smash?
Not that I know. Of. No, but Ninjara, she's a character from the Archie comics, Ninja Turtles and stuff. She was kind of like Raphael's like girlfriend in there.
No, okay, no, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so she's not a mutant, but she's like this type of she's an anthrofox basically, and she was like Raphael's girlfriend throughout most of the like Archie comics and all that stuff. Kind of broke up to the end. To me, that was probably Raphael's like most well written relationship ever. But they're trying to introduce her now inside IDW. The reason why they broke her up with Raphael was because I think they lost the rights to her character or the rights to that character. So that's why, stuff like that.
Ninjara. Let
Right.
me see here.
Or Yumiko. That's her actual name, but Ninjara, that's what everybody knows her best as.
I've seen images of her. Yeah, okay. Now that you mention this, you see, like prior to this, I only had the actual TV, the original TV show to reference, and I only relationship I knew of was with that one appearance of what was that Mona Lisa
Yeah,
in the
yeah, with Mona
cartoon
Lisa.
series.
Yeah, because Ninjara, she was never in the show. She was only in just that comic series.
Unless
But they're
was
trying to bring
Ninjara
her.
an original Archie character that they introduced into the Turtles?
Yeah, she was an original Archie character. And then they're trying to introduce her now inside IDW and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of that per se because I'm like, don't get me wrong, I like Ninjara, but I'm like, but they already have Alopex, who is kind of like
Mm.
um, she's similar
She's
to
a
Ninjara
substitute.
basically.
She's a Ninjara substitute. Let's just yeah.
Exactly, like she was even dating Raph at one point. So I'm saying like, yeah, so what's the point of having Ninjara in here if you already have Alopex?
Cause Raph likes them
You know,
furry.
exactly, especially the foxy ones. Let me stop. And even and this is even crazy too because in the alternate future, Raph even got married to not Ninjara but another girl who was like some type of coyote or part coyote. Her name was Mez, and they like run a restaurant together. So
Mez, you said Mez
yeah,
with an M or an N?
no, with an M. It's Mez. That's her nickname, but I don't know how to pronounce her like entire name.
Okay. Yeah, that's a company. Okay.
Hang on, let me try to search it up real quick, and then
Okay. I'm gonna switch back over to the
okay,
game.
it's Mezcal.
Meza. You said AL?
Yeah,
You say Mezal. Mezal. Okay. Oh yeah. With the locks.
yep, yep. That's Raph's wife in the alternate future.
Yeah, yeah. He likes them. He likes them foxy ladies.
Exactly. If not, the Salamander Girls.
From that was from what was that 2012? The 2012 series. I remember her.
Oh, wait. Nah, she wasn't in there though. But Alopex was. But she kind of
There was
like
a
she looked a lot
salamander
more like
girl that he got a
Ninjara.
crush on in the
Oh
2012
yeah, yeah, yeah.
TV series.
Yeah, that was their version of Mona Lisa.
Okay.
But she was like an alien in that version. She had a different name, but Raphael nicknamed her Mona Lisa basically. So that's that version of that character, pretty much.
Was very, very, very happy with how this ended. The way that Sophie, brought it, full circle, and even left the door open, left the door wide open for Jason Aaron to come in and write whatever he wants to write without making anything feel out of place. Like, I will go and tell you right now, if you're one of those people who is miffed by the idea that Splinter is no longer among us, that didn't change. None of that was changed in this. And if you're curious about what's going on with Shredder, doesn't seem like anything's been changed there either. So it leaves the door open for Jason Aaron to tell a story that I think could be really unique. I actually hope going into Jason Aaron's Ninja Turtles that he doesn't undo anything. I say a lot of this.
I think it's a continuation more than anything.
Female turtles that were
Yeah.
both
It is a
introduced and
continuation.
reintroduced in the series have largely, to me, become a part of the core Ninja Turtles family, not just characters who exist on the periphery, on the outskirts of the Turtles, but characters who I feel you should see included all the time, not just some of the time. And they do find an interesting way to keep Venus around, but also at the same time keep her at arm's length. But I don't know if Jason Aaron is going to pull Venus back into the fold. I don't know how that's going to work out. We don't really know what's going to happen with Jenica either, but we do know that if this is not a reboot, all the characters are still very much present in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens next on that one. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 150 was honestly not what I was expecting or hoping it would be, but it is something that I still thoroughly enjoyed. Like, once again, I have a little bit of bias. I'm a Donatello guy. I've always been a Donatello guy. I was never a Michelangelo guy. I was never a Leonardo guy. I am sometimes a Raphael guy because I totally feel his energy. I totally understand where he's coming from a lot of the time. Like, if there was any other turtle,
Raph and Donnie are my two favorites.
That, the core original four,
Yeah.
that would be the character I probably identify with the most, other than Donatello.
Especially from like the
And I'm a
Mirage
huge
and
fan
the
of Jennifer
87
and
cartoon.
Venus. I
Yeah.
used to not be a fan of Venus, but under Sophie Campbell, definitely a fan of. So I don't know. We don't know what he's gonna do. We don't know what he's gonna do. We're gonna have to wait and see. We still have until July before we're really gonna know.
I can't wait for these particular issues to drop because I think everybody has a different a different story for each turtle. So they're starting off with Raph.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Decent
'Cause,
breakdown.
yeah. Yeah. I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
like,
Go
yeah, I
ahead.
mean, like I said, because I'm tired of I'm sorry, but I'm tired of Sophie Campbell and stuff. I'm like, man, 4 years and her stories aren't even all that. I'm like, whenever they have like a different writer, and like, have you ever read the like TMNT annuals that came out in like the recent years?
So I only have one annual, and that's the future Raphael that came out last year.
Okay, that one. Yeah, that one was good. That's what I was saying. Like that,
Yeah,
or the one that came
and
out
they
the year
used it.
before. I'm
They
like,
used that annual
exactly.
for their ongoing series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sort of. But I was like, see, this is way better, and and this is more TMNT than the actual main series, or or the Turtles act more in character. And you probably noticed, but Jenica is in neither of those annuals, and I'm like, because the writers don't like her. Yeah,
Mhm.
every time they talk about like brotherhood and stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're brothers and all that. I'm like, or they just feel like, oh, things haven't been the same you're reading my mind. Like, bingo, yes, you get it.
So
So I'm like, why don't we get one of these writers and they can write for the main series? But yeah, but not Sophie Campbell. Like, come on.
I mean,
And
I guess
then,
it's a good farewell to Sophie. But you know, I believe Sophie still she's they're using different writers in some of these series, so she hasn't completely disappeared.
yeah, I figured that much. Like, yeah, she probably might come back here and there, but I'm just like, man, can she please work on something else that isn't Ninja Turtles? Because I'm like, man, she is ruining the comics for me.
I got you. I got you. I can't wait for them. I still haven't received mine yet, but I want to read the Saturday morning issue 13. That's basically a crossover of all the different Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah. I actually bought that at the comic book store this week. It's pretty good.
Yes, I'm waiting on my buddy to help deliver that to me. I'm excited for that and finish. I know this isn't TMNT related, but I can't wait for the issue 50 of the Sabretooth War.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that too at the comic book store. But I mean, I don't really read like X-Men and stuff. I read some things. I mean, of course, outside of Ninja Turtles. Like, if you don't know, I'm a huge Sonic fan and all that stuff. So I definitely read the IDW Sonic comics and definitely been
Okay.
reading GI Joe, mostly like the back issues and stuff, and like
Okay.
definitely some old comics. So it's pretty cool.
Hey man, I'm about to check your channel out because I'm really unfamiliar with either or storyline, and you might be my spark notes.
Okay. Wait, which
Mhm.
storyline you said?
Sonic and GI Joe.
Oh, I don't really talk about GI Joe like that too much, but yeah, definitely Sonic. Yeah, definitely. I talk about some
Hey man,
Archie
look,
IDW stuff.
feel free to throw your stuff in the Discord, bro. You know, I feel like you don't post to my Discord enough.
Oh yeah, it's nothing personal. It's just that I'm not really on Discord like that a lot. But
Okay.
since I'm like signed in on my phone, yeah, I definitely get the notifications. So yeah,
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Even in
Check out.
what's this? Yeah, I was about to say even in Nerd Culture's Discord, I don't really post like that because I'm not like on Discord. I might just pop in every here and there if I like see something.
I got you. Let me show you some love here. Let the people know to subscribe to you. That's if they get this far. I'll be honest. Most of
Yeah,
the time when I stream, you know, there's only a fair few people that'll get this far into the stream. So,
yeah. If it's cool with you, if I can like post this stream on my channel and all that stuff,
of
I'll
course,
probably
bro.
well, I won't do some crazy editing, but maybe yeah, because I know you saw that my video where I was like me versus nerd culture and all that. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Hey, look, feel free to do all of that stuff, bro. If you want, yeah, get your edit, do all that. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the whole idea of my channel is I mean, I'll do stuff solo, but when I bring other people on here, I just want to introduce people. I want to introduce opinions and minds. I will talk, but I really prefer it to you for the guests that come on to really share their opinion. So
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead, bro.
Yeah. But pretty much, yeah. So yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this comic. It's not bad, but I'm just not like, yeah, I pretty much already said my grievances and stuff. Not saying that dark Donatello sort of can't work, but I'm just saying like this is like a linear future and all that stuff where it's like, oh yeah, this is like set in stone. Well, not set in stone, but like no, I don't believe that the turtles, especially being raised by Master Splinter, that they would turn out like that. Or you know,
Mhm.
but yeah. Well, I was gonna say earlier, like there was a storyline in the Mirage comics where have you like read volume 4 of like Mirage?
Dude, you know what? I might have only got one or two off because they literally have a like a voiceover with sound effects on YouTube. If it's of the whole Mirage volume. So no, I haven't read volume 4 to answer your question.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly just I've read it online years ago when I was in high school, whatever, you know. But volume 4 basically, and this is in the beginning, volume 4 kind of gets weird later on, but in the beginning, this is like the turtles, they're a lot older now, or not a lot, but they're like in their 30s or whatever. And Donatello, he kept Baxter Stockman alive for like probably like 20 years or something because he attacked April one time
Mm-hmm.
because he was trying to get his like revenge on her and all that for ruining his life. So Stockman, he cut his brain out of his body and put it into a cyborg one, and the turtles had all thought he was dead, but Donatello kind of saved his life, and he
Okay.
kind of kept him kind of like down in the sewers where he was the only person that knew because Donatello wanted to like
That's a
try to
different
reform.
take.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is where it gets dark, and I'm like, yeah. This is where I'm like, okay, that's probably something that Donatello would probably do.
Mhm.
So he kept Stockman down and was trying to hope to like reform him or whatever because Stockman's a smart guy, and it's like, oh, that's terrible to waste him like somebody like him, you know.
Yeah.
So after April almost died because of one of Stockman's attempts because he injected April with some kind of virus or something, and it was this whole thing. But yeah, but Donatello went down to Stockman, tried one last attempt to reform him. That wasn't working. Eventually, Donatello got fed up and just he shot up Stockman, killed him,
Oh,
and
snap.
he
Hold
left.
on. Let me give somebody a visual of volume 4. I just typed this into the old Google. Are any of these covers familiar or images?
What about that second one right there? I can't really see it too well.
This one,
Yeah, that one.
this is more of a
That looks like
dinosaur.
yeah, that's a dinosaur. My bad. That's that is the art style though, but that's not it. Hang on.
Okay, and that's not okay. Um,
Volume.
unless it's this one right here. How about that one?
Hang on. Let me see. Yep,
Prisoner for
that's it
seven.
right there. Oh
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, Donatello, he was in the chair and everything. He was talking to Stockman. He tried for hours. He was like, he had it, shot him up, killed Stockman, was told him just rot in hell. And that's it. Never told his brothers any of this happened. None of that because they probably would shoot him out. But yeah, that's something Donatello would do, but not, oh, well, I made some kids and I'm going to kill one of them and I'm going to be a neglectful dad. And this is, then Donatello's worried that he would turn into this. I'm like, what?
Okay,
But yeah.
in a way, would this ending of 150 kind of be like a mirage kind of tribute to an extent, or do you think it
Um,
was an attempt?
I would say attempt, yeah. Because I mean,
Okay.
they use the little crystal pencil thing and all that.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, I don't think the crystal thing works as like a main thing unless it's just a one off because they also did it too in Volume 4, and that was kind of dumb. Um, I'm not sure if you want me to tell you what they did in Volume 4 with that or not, but it was a stupid. I'm gonna just say that
Okay, okay. What would you rank that one? What would you rank that ending?
from Volume 4.
Yeah.
Uh, well, they didn't really have an ending because it got canceled. But I was gonna say,
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you, the thing. So basically, they also brought back the little crystal pencil thing from Donatello's microcomic, where they try to say that basically April was created from the little crystal pencil by her dad because April discovered that she had no records or anything, no birth certificate or anything. So she was like, "Wait, what's going on?" And then Renette basically told April that she's a creation of like, or showed her basically that she's a creation of like this crystal pencil thing or whatever. And I was like, really, really, Peter Larrett, like you really had to.
That's
I'm
not
like April.
well,
April could have been just a normal girl,
as
but then
much
you.
as people love Peter Laird. when he decides, he sometimes he goes way left and way right. So it doesn't surprise me. I didn't like those remutated versions of the turtles that he was trying to implement.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
now
So,
that doesn't surprise me.
Sophie Kimmel, she's Raj. Yeah, so Sophie Kimmel is a huge tries to like take stuff from that, like the crystal pencil thing, or you saw
Mm.
Donatello's little gauntlet thing, and try to implement that. Or I'm pretty sure there's a ton of other examples, but she's a
Leonardo
huge
with the
diehard fan of Mirage.
sword. I think Leonardo's sword was
So
at 146 or
probably, yeah, yeah, yeah,
147.
yeah, yeah. You're right. Because there's a
Easter
future
eggs.
version of Leo, exactly, or like
Mm.
even Casey, like she was like, which I'm not against, but Casey's hair, she started making it more longer and wavier, like in the Mirage comics. So yeah, or a little bit more crazier, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah, right.
Those different versions. Okay. I'm about to wrap this up, Joni, man. I appreciate you hopping in tonight, bro.
Oh yeah, no
Um
problem. Thanks for having me. So like, let me end on this. So like, what do you like? What are your thoughts on the IDW comics as like a whole and stuff? And I can also tell you like, what do I think of the IDW comics?
so of course I still have much more to read and catch up on it. Uh to me to me I have no complaints because it checks so many boxes and it's hard to get a 10 out of 10 off on anything. So I mean, with all included, with the magic and the spells and Mutant Town, Ben developing Lita to replace Renee, all the Easter eggs. As
Yeah.
a whole, if I were to rate it, I'd I'd go 7 or 8. But I might feel different if I had as much history as you had as far as going in with Mirage and etc. But I got like 7 or 8
Yeah.
out of 10.
Oh yeah, and speaking of about female turtles, I didn't mind Lita either because I thought okay, she's a little interesting because I was like okay, maybe an adopted daughter for Leonardo could work to kind of progress his character and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
he could be like a teen dad. That's how I kind of saw it. So I was like okay, maybe that can probably work.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, but what do I think of the IDW comics? So like I said, like years ago, like this is probably like it's 2024. So like at least over 6 7 years ago, I was in high school. I used to like read the Tmnt comics online, and the IDW comics was like the last series that I had to like really catch up on since it was the ongoing one,
Mm-hmm.
and I really did love it. I read it from the beginning, the side stuff and stuff. At first, like when I heard the premise that the turtles are reincarnated and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, like the turtles, technically they're a couple of years old in their present life, whereas like the mutagen like mutated their bodies or whatever. But what I liked is that they have the memories and the experience from their past life when they grew up
Mm.
like together and had childhood. So I like that. And on top of that, it's supposed to be like a combination of both because you know how like Master Splinter has two origins where he's like either he's a pet of Hamato Yoshi, or he's just a rat, or he is Hamato Yoshi that just got mutated into a rat. But the IDW kind of like combined those origins where they just said that in a past life he was Hamato Yoshi, but he
Okay.
died. Shredder killed him, and he came back to life as Splinter. And Hamato Yoshi had four sons that also died, and they came back to life as the Turtles. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And when we
Mm-hmm.
got into the comics, it just felt like, oh, well, they're not going to beat. And to be honest with you, I really felt like the IDW comics was like pretty much on par with the 2003 series for a while. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, this is
Mm-hmm.
pretty good.
Gave those
And they
glimpses,
introduced
and
like
that's
the
that's a
characters.
lot of people's favorite. So okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's not my personal preference, but trust me, you'll definitely love it. You'll love a lot of the older comics and stuff. I mean, it's cool you like current stuff too and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff, but you'll definitely like stuff like Turtle Universe and all that, etc. City at Fall, or yeah.
You know what? Those turtle universes are. There's a specific comic book owner, and he doesn't do online sales, and he doesn't accept card. He does cash freaking only. And I had a chance to grab a gang of those.
Dang. I'm
Oh,
not gonna lie to you. I only probably have like one Turtle Universe comic, and I think it might have been the last one. But
mhm.
yeah, I don't see too many Turtle Universe comics, but it's mostly just side. It's like side stories basically that just happen within the TMNT universe. So it
Yeah, he
won't
didn't
always,
charge very much for them, so that makes sense.
yeah. So I won't always focus on like the Ninja Turtles, but it'll probably focus on like a different character. So it could be Casey, April, Angel, maybe, or Alopex. You never know. It might just
Mhm.
focus on like. So that's the whole purpose of the Turtles universe comics.
Okay.
Yeah, Sonic. They also had like a similar thing too, where since they have a lot of characters, Sonic Universe, that was the name of the series. They will focus on like different characters and stuff from the Sonic universe than just Sonic all the time. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, man. Thanks again. I'm definitely gonna message you next time we get into. We'll probably cover. We'll try and get into that crossover Saturday morning issue.
oh yeah, you'll definitely like it. I mean, it's a pretty decent story. I think it's a well, actually, yeah, it's a three-parter. So definitely look forward to the conclusion of that.
Okay. That's good to
Yeah,
hear. That's good to hear. Okay. All
because
right.
they're about to they're definitely about to go all out, or not all out, but they're definitely going to do something. I'm gonna just say that.
Okay. All right. That's enough,
I'm not
Johnny.
gonna spoil. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm just saying, like, yeah, the 87 zeros they got a lot on their plate right now with that.
Okay. Okay. I got you. All right. We'll close this out, guys.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Johnny.
no.